In the police report, the officer that pulled over Mr. Calvin stated that she uploaded a body cam footage and dash cam footage, and that was nowhere. And so
Okay,
that was our concern.
sure. But it sounds like whatever they did with it, it's not there now, unfortunately.
Yes, Your Honor. I don't know what happened with it. So
Okay,
Body cam footage, dash cam footage. According to the report, it was uploaded, but now nobody can find it. Before this plea even begins, questions are already hanging over the case, and the court is putting that concern on the record.
good
morning, Your Honor.
good morning. All right, so are you Calvin Hawkins Jr.?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is 24 DCCR 1160, and Mr. Hawkins is charged with unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon. And what is the announcement?
Your Honor, is it possible to briefly talk with the DA?
Sure, I'll give y'all just a few more minutes if y'all want to visit, and then I'll need an announcement after that. All right, we'll be in short recess. Thank you. Let's see. All right, sir, you're Calvin Hawkins Jr. All right, and let me get you pulled up here real quick. And Miss, is it Bosley or Bosley?
Bosley.
And Miss Bosley, will your client waive the formal reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge, there is something before you get started. I think we probably should put on the record, please,
Sure.
if you don't mind. Ms. Bosley's been made, the discovery's been made available to Ms. Bosley. She, online, she's reviewed it and she's reached out to me with some questions about the existence or the non-existence of some videos in this case. I asked my investigator, Aldrin Base, to reach out to the sheriff's department about whether or not there are additional videos that exist. And he did so, and he's informed that they do not exist.
Okay.
I think Ms. Bosley can maybe articulate it more as to why she thinks that there should have been, or why she has questions about it. But nevertheless, I suggested to her that, you know, by all means, she could set it for a hearing. She can issue a subpoena for the officers. I certainly will do whatever I need to do to facilitate that if that's what she chose to do.
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor. In the police report, the officer that pulled over Mr. Calvin stated that she uploaded a body cam footage and dash cam footage, and that was nowhere. And so
Okay,
that was our concern.
sure. But it sounds like whatever they did with it, it's not there now, unfortunately.
Yes, Your Honor. I don't know what happened with it. So
Okay. All right. Thank y'all for putting that on the record. And but you want to go forward with the plea today, is that correct?
Yeah.
And are we going on count one only?
That's correct, Judge. The state would abandon one of those enhancement paragraphs. Or punishment
Both of the
enhancement paragraphs.
okay. All right. So Mr. Hawkins, in cause number 24 DCCR 1160, the state has elected to proceed on count one only. It alleges you committed the third-degree felony offense of unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon from January 31st of 2024. And how do you plead to that charge?
No contest.
It's guilty or not guilty? I'm sorry.
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Freely.
And are you pleading guilty because you did what they've charged you with?
Yes.
I have here on the tablet some documents that have your signature on them that the state's marked as exhibit number 1. Before you signed these, did you go over them with Ms. Bosley? Do you fully understand them?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand, if I follow the agreement that you've made with the district attorney, that you'll be waiving or giving up any right to appeal?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also understand, if you're not a U.S. citizen, that a plea of guilty or no contest may result in your deportation, exclusion from admission to the country, or denial of naturalization under federal law?
Yes, ma'am.
State tenders number 1, any objection?
No.
It's admitted. Is there any evidence that Mr. Hawkins is not competent?
He's competent, that's my knowledge.
Thank you. All right, sir, I'm going to find that you entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily. Find that you're mentally competent and you understand the nature and the consequences of your plea. Find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon. Sentence you in accordance with your agreement to a term of 6 years in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Corrections. You will receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. I'm handing you the trial court certification. That shows that this was an agreement that I followed, and so you did waive your right to appeal. I also handed you a written admonishment regarding your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. Because of the judgment entered against you, you're ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. If you have any questions about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or about how long that lasts, you can talk with Ms. Bosley. All right, good luck to you, sir. You can go back with the bailiff. And
The
Mr.
judge followed the negotiated agreement and made sure every required warning was given before imposing sentence. In the end, this case comes down to choices. Concerns about evidence were raised, but the guilty plea moved forward anyway. Was accepting the deal the right call, or should the missing footage have been challenged further? Do you think the judge was right, or did the defendant give up too much too soon? Comment below, hit like, and subscribe
sir.
for
You're
more
Michael
real
Victoria?
courtroom breakdowns.
This is cause numbers 21-36410 and 21-36411. Mr. Victoria is charged with murder in each of those cases. And what is the announcement?
We have filled out a plea bargaining rejection form,
Oh,
in each
there
of these cases.
All right, give me just a second. So what that means, Mr. Victoria, in each of your cases is that if you go to trial and you're found guilty, the range of punishment. I'm sorry, it's going slow.
It's habitual.
So your indictment alleges, in each of those cases, in addition to the charge of murder, it alleges that you were previously convicted of aggravated robbery, burglary of a habitation, retaliation, and another burglary of a habitation, and an aggravated robbery. All those are from the same date.
There's also a federal conviction.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
So federal conviction, he is habitual.
Okay, and so in your indictment, it alleges that you were previously convicted of all of those prior felonies. In addition, it sounds like there is a federal conviction that was after that, which would make you, for punishment purposes, if you're found guilty and those prior convictions are true, a habitual offender with a minimum punishment of 25 years if you're found guilty, up to 99 years or life in prison in each of those cases. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And in each of those cases, I have here on the tablet some documents that you've signed with Mr. Eckhart that show that the district attorney's office has made offers in your cases if you wanted to enter pleas of guilty for 35-year terms in each of those cases that would run concurrently, which means together at the same time. You have every right to reject that and have your cases set for trial. I just want to make sure you understand what the possible consequences are if you go to trial, what your options are. Do you understand all that?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you want to reject those offers and have your cases set for trial?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, and is there any reason to believe that there would be a change or in that offer? Anything that you guys are waiting on evidence or discovery wise?
There's gonna be some things that I'm gonna ask Philip to request, but nothing that I think we're waiting on, just that it's not the final, but we're working on it.
Okay, I just want to make sure when we get to that trial date, obviously, the age of this case is very concerning. So I want to, once it's on the trial docket, it's going to be expected to move pretty quickly. So if y'all need anything, make sure you make those requests quickly so that when it gets to trial, we'll get that taken care of. Also want to make sure you understand, sir, that after today, I will not accept this plea agreement. If anything changes, something comes up, the attorneys don't know now, then maybe that would be different, but otherwise it's going to be a trial, or if you change your mind, you can enter an open plea or to something different. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can go back with the bailiff. We'll get it in the trial docket.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, sir. All right, sir, you're Travis Smith. Okay, thank you. And so I'm going to take judicial notice of the court's file, and Mr. Smith was previously found not competent to stand trial, was sent to the John Dunn Behavioral Science Center for competency restoration. I've received the report back from that facility. There is the forensic psychiatry report prepared by Dr. Select, dated May 13th of 2026, with the finding that Mr. Smith is currently competent to stand trial. In addition to that, there's a trial competency evaluation report prepared by Dr. Guzman, also with the opinion that Mr. Smith has regained a competency to stand trial. Is there any other evidence with regard to competency?
Not at this time, Your Honor. I've got the report.
All right, then at this time, I am going to find Mr. Smith competent to stand trial. Will he waive the formal reading of the indictment?
We'll wait, John.
Mr. Smith, in cause number 25, BCCR 1251, you're charged with the state jail felony offense of theft with previous theft convictions from August 14th of 2025. The indictment alleges you were previously convicted of theft July 29th of 2014. And then after that, December 16th of 2014. And how do you plead to that charge? And are those prior convictions true? Are the prior convictions true?
Yeah.
And did you enter your plea of guilty and true freely and voluntarily? And did you plead guilty because you actually did what they charged you with? I have here on the tablet some documents that have your signature on them that the state has marked as exhibit number 1. Before you signed these, did you go over them with Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Do you fully understand them?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand if I follow the agreement that you made with the district attorney that you'll be waiving or giving up any right to appeal?
Yes.
And it looks like the agreement that you've reached.
2 years probated fine with $1,000 fine.
Okay, y'all filled out the 2 years state jail and 2 years county jail.
Yeah,
State-
I couldn't erase it on the, I was gonna erase the county jail. I'm not sure which would
Okay.
be, but
All right, so it looks like the agreement that you've reached is for a 2-year term in the state jail prison, but that would be probated. You'd be on probation for 5 years. You would be ordered to pay a $1,000 fine to follow all of the rules and conditions of probation, including being on the mental health caseload. So we'll give you everything you need in order to be successful. Is that your understanding? Do you also, and it looks like also that the state's going to dismiss a misdemeanor harassment charge in cause number 25 CCCR 1, is that a 1 or a 7?
it's 1688.
Thank you. 1688. It's your understanding that's going to be dismissed. Do you also understand if you're not a U.S. citizen that a plea of guilty or no contest may result in your deportation, exclusion from admission to the country, or denial of naturalization under federal law?
Yes.
State tenders number 1.
No objection.
It's admitted. Mr. Smith, I'm going to find again that you entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily. Find that you're mentally competent and that you understand the nature and the consequences of your plea. Find sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Do I need a pre-sentence report? Is there?
Please, Judge,
Okay.
I think with the
So-
mental health issues.
Yeah, he's gonna have some special issues.
Sure, so I'm going to
Don't-
reset, I'm going to reset your case so that the probation department can do a pre-sentence report. That'll just give me more information about you, your case, your history, what all you might need while you're on probation, and then we'll come back later for sentencing. Okay? All right, we'll see y'all at sentencing.